are black women's standards too high? Now, you have been told that women should just shut up and kick it.
Right.
Shut up and kick it. What does that mean?
Well, it's just like, you know, my man, he's out there cheating, but he does come home. Baby, shut up and kick it. You know, he's giving me venereal diseases, but come on,
Whoa.
he's a good man. He's paying the bills. Shut up and kick it. It's like black women, especially women in general, but black women put up with so much from black men. Not all of us. There are a lot of good brothers out there that do what they're supposed to do and are good, loving men. And I don't mean everybody, but I think that there are a lot of men out there that just kind of want us to just go with the flow. Men cheat. That's what we do. You know, it's our instinct. You hear that so much. Why do men cheat? When they ask, well, we're derived from animals. And so, it's a boy doing what a boy is supposed to do. That's what men do.
And do you think that men also use the numbers to justify that position? There's so many more women than there are men, you know?
I think there are. And I mean, what's even sadder for me is that there are a lot of women out there who endorse this, who will say, girl, you might go to her and say, girl, I'm thinking about leaving him. He just keeps on cheating. Girl, you got a good man. You need to stay with him. He can't cheat forever, you know? And eventually, when they get into their 60s or 70s and they run down, then they're home and you're a good woman because you stayed through all that.
Well,
he had a baby cross town. He did all this and you stayed. That's a good woman. You stayed.
I don't think it's so much that we should be endorsing that you should stay, but I agree with Hill in the fact that black families are breaking down. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I have a son. I'm trying to raise him through the filter of a woman. I'm trying to teach this little boy just to stand up and pee, and I can't. And I would like a man in there to help me raise my son.
Hill, you talk about the 95-5 rule. 95% of the women chasing that high up 5% of the men. You find that true?
95% of us, 95% of the women are trying to date 5% of the men. That's somewhat in keeping with what he calls the Denzel Principle. But 95% of the men are trying to date 5% of the women as well. But we use a different standard for what that 5% is. Men use a more aesthetic standard, and folks sit back and wonder why. Hey, how come that guy, he's 40-some, 50-some years old, he's trying to go after that 28-year-old, that 5% in his mind, what that is. And then we look at his Denzel Principle, the same thing, the flip side. Now, to talk about what Sherri was talking about, I want to go back to her point. When I was doing research for the book and meeting and interviewing all these couples, folks that have been married 7 years, folks that were devoutly single, serial monogamous, folks that have been in and out, divorced, etc., you know, what you start to realize, and this is what I started to realize, that's why the book's called The Conversation, is that we as black men and black women aren't communicating. And the reason why there's so much misinformation, the reason why women have no clue what Steve just talked about, is because women spread misinformation amongst themselves. Because they're talking a great deal about it, but they're just talking with themselves. And, to be fair, brothers do the same thing with each other. I'll give you an example. For instance, if you go out, and I just found this in doing the book, when a brother who's married, who's happily married, shows up to a group of other brothers, he doesn't just show up and say, hey, my wife is so good, I'm so happy. He's just quiet about it, right? But a brother who's unhappily married, he can't stop talking about it. And so what happens, if you're a single brother like me, you're hearing so much from the unhappily married brothers. But what I found out when I did the book, more brothers that are married are happier than the brothers that aren't. And so, but you wouldn't think that. If you poll most single brothers, you say, what is it like to be a married man? Oh, man, I'm sure it's just like what my man said. She's always on my back.
Well, is that because people are used to, men and women are so used to having an adversarial relationship?
No, I do not think it. I think it's because, like I said before, in many ways, it's not clear that black men and black women are even friends anymore. And what I mean by that is that the first thing that comes out of folks' mouths, cross-gender, when you're talking about the other gender, is always the negative first. It's the blame game. It's the he say, she say. Even Jackie just did it. She ran down the negatives first, and then she said, oh, but there are some good black men out there. Right? And it's almost a subconscious, it almost happens subconsciously, and it happens everywhere. And brothers do the same thing. I mean, you can just listen to music and know that. You know, it's one of my favorite quotes I came across when I did the book. It's the feminine wants to be adored, the masculine wants to be believed in. And it's not altogether clear to me that black men are adoring black women, and it's not always clear to me that black women are believing in black men.